You don't know, are both of those visitors?
The one on the far end is visitors.
The one on the far end is coach visitors.
Okay. Yeah. And this one is supposed to be another media. The one next to us, yeah. But it doesn't look like there's anybody there.
Well, we don't know for sure. That generally
usually it's Crestview Community Television.
Yeah, there's a television guy that's generally here. Who are y'all with?
Milton.
Coaches?
Yeah.
That's y'all at the far end.
Far end.
Okay. Yeah. If we had both, we were going to use both. But I was going to
we're not sure if each.
No, I wouldn't.
We'll plan on just using one.
Yeah, they generally just give the coaches on the end that.
I wasn't sure if both of them were.
No, that's another media guy that's coming. But he ain't coming.
Well, I'm logged in.
Yeah, they generally just give the coaches on the end that. I wasn't sure if both of them were. No, that's another media guy that's coming.
We're killing us. Killing us. Can we know when we're hot or not? Jesus.
My goodness. Well, I didn't know about that, so I'm glad you told us.
All right, well, thanks.
All right, good to see you again, and I'm glad your voice is back with you. You sounding good.
All right, well, thanks.
Let's call in Sean here, and Sean is going to share some information with us about an upcoming event that happens about this time every year. Sean, welcome back.
Oh, it's great to be back. So this Saturday we have our Southeastern United States Marching Festival in Troy, Alabama. And it's going to be such a fun day. It's going to start at early in the morning, 8 o'clock. We'll feed the band some breakfast. So like Jody was talking about earlier, it takes a village to get the Big Red Machine moving. So yes. Our fantastic band parents will help provide, assortments of breakfast foods, casseroles, things like that to help fuel the Big Red Machine for rehearsal. We'll get out to the field and rehearse a couple hours, and then we've got a couple trucks to load that some band parents will go pick up, and they'll help our what we call loading crew. They'll help load these trucks, and after the trucks are loaded, we'll get served lunch. So we'll have some sub sandwiches for lunch, and each meal, mind you, it's 300 students we're feeding. So it's an event to get those students fed. Right, the check's in the mail.
Check's in the mail,
right.
Okay.
So, and then after that, we'll have a little bit of downtime, and we'll brief the students on what's expected of them once we arrive to the event. We'll have some time to watch some bands, and our chaperone parents are huge help. We'll have about, each time we go somewhere, it's about 30 chaperones to direct these kids in the stadium and outside the stadium and things like that.
And there is a requirement to have...
And it's a special night, and we're certainly proud of our senior class and the leadership that they provide to the Big Red Machine. And moving forward, we're with the Bulldogs from here on out. All the games are on our calendar, and unless something gets changed, I don't foresee that happening. But we're very much looking forward to playing for our team and just celebrating all of the students of Crestview High School. And what better way to do that than a Friday night lights at Jack Foster Stadium?
Absolutely. I watched a video posted on the Facebook, and seeing the halftime show, I don't see how you get everyone in time, in sync, and how do the students remember, I got to turn here, I got to turn around there, I got to...
It's hours and hours and hours and hours and more hours and more hours. It's blood, sweat, and tears. And we commented this past week with the weather change that during the marching season we experienced the highest temperatures to some of the lowest temperatures all in one season. And again, the kids just, they respond. They go right out and, okay, let's wear a hoodie instead of a t-shirt and let's get after it. And it's a lot of fun. And again, we're all blessed to be here and to work with such great kids and with such great parents, and with our leader, Mr. Sanders, and all of his staff and the faculty at Crestview High School. Is just an awesome place to be. And one of the valuable things that we have noticed as we take our band to places like the Little Bighorn, which we were at last Saturday and did very well. The band has received superior ratings all season to this point, and we took them up there to Op, and they got to see a lot of other bands and cheer for bands. And band kids love band kids.
Right.
And they cheer for each other and support each other and talk just so positively to each other. And it's a really good, wholesome, encouraging thing to see. That's our future, and that's our who we actually are. And you know what? I'm very proud of all our students and of all the band students that I see. And it's just a really good world to be a part of. And I can't think of anything better for these kids to be doing.
Absolutely, and the year just doesn't ever stop. You have some other event or training to go about and practice.
Right. So while we're continuing to put the finishing touches on, we like to call it building the mountain for our halftime show, and our halftime show also exists outside of football games at these band festivals and contests. So, but we're already working. We have been working for weeks now on our homecoming music that's coming up next week. Our Veterans Day Parade, which will be downtown Crestview on November the 11th, and then our annual Christmas Parade on December 3rd, I believe, the first Saturday in December. We're already working on all of that music. We're preparing a special piece that we're going to play in the stands next Friday. It's kind of close to Halloween, so we got a tune that we like to play. So there's a lot of stuff going on. We've got the mentoring going on. We've got jazz bands. We've got chamber winds. And all of the band classes are reading music, preparing music, getting ready for our upcoming Christmas concert. We're already thinking about next semester with solo and ensemble. And it's just a very busy but and never-ending, it seems, schedule. A lot of it is done where you don't necessarily realize it because people don't get to, but come on by and see us and watch what happens. It's a lot of fun every day. I did get a note the other day from a band parent who lives somewhere towards the south end of town around the Central Baptist Church area, and he said that on rehearsal nights he can hear us
really
down there. And I'm thinking, wow, I hear a lot from the people that live close to us, but I'm thinking, man, that's some sound carriage right there. May have been the cool night and he was just commenting how wonderful it was to hear that and bragging on the kids and how they're so a lot of cool things. We get every time we take the band any place, we get complimented on their behavior as they arrive. As we got to Op last week, got off the bus, and I got a message from one of the parents saying that the hosts there at Op were so impressed with the way we just got off the bus and lined up and went into the stadium quietly. The parent at Op said that we need to make a video and show everybody how to do that. But that's just our kids. That's that's the way they are. And anyway, so a lot of great things going on now. Very proud of the progress they've made and the results that they've achieved. And we've still got a few more weeks to go. And we're hoping to, again, cheer on the Bulldogs to another victory.
All right. Well, we want to thank you and Kim and Sean for bringing us up to date because we were off the program for a couple of weeks there due to uncontrollable circumstances, and we're glad that everything worked out all right and that we're back together again, and that the program is still going on and without missing a lick.
Absolutely. Still going.
Okay, well, we invite you now to stay with us for the Coaches Show with Tim English, the Bulldogs head coach, Thomas Grant, and it's countdown to kickoff, and live from the press box with Tim and Dusty, and live play-by-play on WAAZ at 104.7 FM, thegoodcountry.com, and Facebook. And remember, once a Bulldog, always a Bulldog, and
go Dogs!
Well, we're here with Coach Thomas Grant, week 9. Coach, we talked about this and last week before the game at Mosley, and you was, worried about their skill players. And I don't know. I've watched the teams we played over the years, and when a D1 guy's on the field, right?
Especially the Panhandle.
Especially the Panhandle, because there's not that many of them, right? But number 6 was the real deal.
Yes, sir. He probably played his best game, to say the least. That first touchdown where
he ran over a couple guys.
Yes, sir. You could just tell that he's a player, and which we knew that going in, and
right.
we wanted to tackle him low, and I think after that we kind of got the memo that we needed to tackle him low, because 230 when it meets 180, he's going to win most of the time.
Sure.
But he's a really good player. 12, the running back ran the ball really hard, and they kind of did something that we really haven't seen on film, is that they were more committed to the running game than they've ever been, and maybe that's because we're kind of one of the smaller defensive fronts there is. They kind of got foot to foot and said we're coming right at you, and we struggled.
Yeah. I think they had a little bit more yardage on the ground than they did pass, but they was fairly balanced, I guess.
Yes, sir.
450 yards total, I think, was total yardage there. We got down, but in the third quarter, we was, 5 points with the ball?
5 points with the ball. We had a chance to come take the lead, and then I think we also had a red zone possession where we threw a pick that we had a chance to cut it back to a one-score game.
We did.
And that would have been, I think, with 4 or 5 minutes left. So you just don't know how it went. But when we got the ball down by 4, we had a second down play that kind of got blown up. It's just when you're an option team and you're reading the ends, the end kind of got in between. And hindsight 2020, if we hand the ball off, we have a free edge. But Jerome, which he's been good all year on making these reads, he thought he gave him a read to keep it, and he got a tackle for loss.
Yep. And speaking of your quarterback, he's been doing great. I think he was your player of the week. He did a great job.
He competed his butt off. He was 15 of 26 for 217 and 3 scores. He's come a long way.
He really has.
He's been great this year. And he's going to continue to be great. I mean, I can't even imagine what his stats would be with
half more of the catches.
Yes, sure. Not to throw anybody under the
bus
by any means, but just we had a couple of drops in this game too, which not nearly as many. Our receivers have been better the past couple of weeks, and look, there's going to be opportunities in the upcoming game against Milton for our receivers to have big plays, just like against Mosley. Our first touchdown where one of their guys, we noticed on film, he likes to look in the backfield, and we kind of caught him sleeping. And when you play cover 0 with no safeties, it only takes
one.
It takes one,
That's right.
And we kind of, I thought it was huge at the end of the first half. If we could have scored there, get it to a 2-possession game, because when you come out and start down 17-0, it's tough. But look, our kids battled back, through adversity, and
they did.
Like I said, we had the ball down by 5 and a chance to take the lead.
So the other thing that we talked about last week, and listen, I know when, over the years interviewing the coaches, it's all about being positive, not trying to have any negative thoughts or anything, but I've just noticed this. You take a Friday night game with a packed house. It don't matter if it's away or home. Of course, it helps when it's at home.
Yes, sir.
2 weeks ago, we was in Tallahassee. Then we flip into a Thursday game with 50 people in the stands. I mean, it just felt flat. And I don't know if you sense that or not.
Well, definitely, excuse me, after the first possession, felt flat and just trying to get them going on the sideline. And, it took us a couple more possessions than I would like, especially offensively, because, we go out there, I think we get one first down, then have to punt on the first possession. We come back down, I believe 14-0, and we get a fumble call that it wasn't a fumble, but look, the game's fast, and that's just a tough break. You expect the home team to get some calls like that.
You do,
and they got one, and
we hope we get some more. We got 2 more home games anyways.
Yes, sir. But but then after the fumble, our defense holds them to a field goal to give us a chance. Then we come back and score. But we definitely did not start the way that I would like. And
I mean, that third quarter was really a great quarter.
Yes, sir.
If we could repeat that one more quarter,
we had our opportunity. Just the negative play on second down, and then we come back on third down. Had a guy. it'll be a tough catch, but we have to make those catches.
What's the first down? How do we come out on the health wise that game?
No, everybody should be good, and we're hoping to get 23 back because we were out our best pass rusher, Jalen Knox, 23 for the Mosley game. It not only is he one of our best pass rusher, he's one of our best players. So it was that's a big loss, but we had a young sophomore step up and give us everything he had.
Sure.
And Reese Killian, and we had some other players that stepped up, so it was a good learning experience for
I
me.
guess this year so far, if you can take any positives out of all of your injuries, is that you've had younger kids play.
Yes,
they'll
sir.
be ready next year, hopefully, or they'll have experience under their belt.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's one thing. We live. Look, there's no excuses. It's next man up mentality.
Right. As you look at the game overall, of course, that was mostly probably skill-wise set. They've got to be one of the best teams we played so far.
I thought,
or close to it.
Yes, sir. I thought going into the year and then going in even after watching film, that they were one of the most talented team on paper on our schedule. So we knew it was going to be a challenge. Like I said, right now they have 2 Division I guys. One's going to Central Florida, and the other one's possibly going to Georgia Southern.
Oh, wow.
So that was number 3.
Okay.
Excuse me. They got a young quarterback, but they're very senior heavy this year. But yeah, they're definitely a talented team, and Coach Wooden does a good job.
On your defensive side, you said you had your pass rusher out, but you still got a couple of guys that are really stepping up, doing a good job. I think Hawthorne is.
Look, I'll tell you this: we haven't had linebacker play since him in a very long time at Crestview. Just to put it in perspective, he's had 52 tackles in 3 games.
Good.
He's gone 16, 18, 18. There's a time in the Child's game on that third quarter where they had the ball the whole time. There was an 11-play stretch where he had 10 tackles. He's really playing at a very high level right now. I mean, he's playing at a level that Deion Hall played at Mo Hawley played at. Just a few guys off the top of my head. I mean, to be honest with you, we haven't had a 200-pound linebacker.
Who was that kid that played baseball, and he's playing baseball now? About 5-6 years ago, that didn't he play middle line? He played quarterback some for us. No, he didn't play. He had to step.
Corey Armstrong.
Yeah. Did he play middle linebacker some?
He did. But Marion, he kind of checks all the boxes. He's like 6'3", 200 pounds. He can go sideline to sideline. Corey, look, he did a great job for us. He was more of a
wherever you needed me.
Well, yeah, that and like C gap to C gap, But Marion has. God has blessed him.
Out there.
Yes, God has blessed him with a lot of ability. It's to the point now where there's some schools that are very interested in him with the performances that he's put in.
Well, when we come back, finally back at Jack Foster Stadium for 2 more games. Then we'll have a Thursday night game. We'll be back right after a word from our sponsors here on WAZ 104.7.
Hello, this is Dixie Dan Powell. Just like in the courtroom, you got to be bulldog tough. It takes teamwork to get to the goal line and to win the game. Go Bulldogs. Call us, Powell Injury Law, 850-306-2667. That's 850-306-2667.
Well, welcome back. We are going to break down a big game for the Bulldogs. I know, Coach, that after a Friday night game in Tallahassee and a Thursday night game in Panama City that got changed on you, you're glad to be back at home. Milton's coming to the house, and I know their record could be deceiving.
Oh, absolutely. Look, they probably have the most explosive players on offense of any Panhandle team. They got a receiver committed to Georgia. They have a quarterback verbally committed to Miami. They have 2 other.
The U?
Yes, sir. Yeah, right.
Really?
Now. Yes, sir.
Not Miami of Ohio.
No, not Miami of Ohio.
Wow, that's impressive.
And then they got a number 3. I don't know his name, but I've been a fan of him for 2 years now at slot for him. I think he does a great job. He reminds me a lot of Marquise McCoy that we had years ago. They got a really good running back. There was a running back from Pace last year. He came over to Milton. So look, offensively, they got guys that could hurt you everywhere, and Mosley has talented players. Well, so does Milton. So their 2-5 record is kind of like there's been a lot of close games. They've only got blown out one game.
Time.
They played Navarre last week, and that was they had the lead at half, and it was a back and forth game, and had the opportunity, but just fell a little bit short. But Coach Gillis from Milton has done a great job in his first year. The kids are playing hard, and they've been a little short on a couple games.
Yeah. So as we match up, looking at the matchups tonight against Milton, how does our receiving squad pair up to their DBs?
I think there's some opportunity in the passing game. They've been kind of a defense of two seasons, so to speak. Early on in the season, they probably played more, throwing teams like Catholic and Fairhope, can't think, but they played more passing teams, so they're more of a zone team. The past 2 weeks when they've played Tate and Navarre, both of those teams are kind of more of running teams. They've kind of gone more man. So I would assume we're going to see man.
Oh, really? Okay.
Just because of Jason Jones and in our running game, that's the reason why. Going back to Mosley, they played a 7-man box because they wanted us to throw it, because they didn't want us to allow us to run the football. And when they gave us a 4-man front, we had really good runs. So, and when they had that bear front, which is the 5-2, there's an unblocked guy there. We'd still get 3 or 4 yards, but when the team's playing cover 0, you got to be able to win one-on-one matchups, and that's what we're waiting to see how Milton attacks us. Our offense. They've shown 4-2-5 where they play cover 3. They've shown a 4-2-5 where they play man the past 2 weeks, but they've also jumped in bear. So do they jump in bear to say throw the ball, or do they play that 4-2-5 and maybe give us a little bit of both? So it's going to be. We game plan going into the game, but I can't count how many times over the past 10 years and this year that what we see on film, we don't see that Friday night because of how we do things in our RPO game is just different than a lot of teams. So you got to be able to adjust quickly. I was shocked that Mosley played us in cover 0, but to their credit, they won the game, so it worked for them. They kind of made us one-dimensional a little bit.
When you look at your tape like that, and what do you think causes a team like Mosley or whoever, when they go cover 0, what causes them to do that? Do they see how good Jones is, or do they see us maybe struggling a little bit catching the ball, or what's your thoughts?
To be honest with you, it's kind of the same thought process that we had against Niceville, because we kind of did that against Niceville, and is that when you allow a team to do both, or allow a team just to 4 yards, 5 yards, 4 yards, it's just demoralizing, And when you can stack the box, and if you feel like you match up with their receivers good enough, then I can't stand for a team to be able to run the ball on us. So it would be even worse. Right. Run the ball on us for what they did, and look, and we were in cover 0 a lot, but we just didn't get the job done. So their thought process, well, let's take away the running game, or at least let's slow down the running game where they don't have big chunk plays and put the onus on our DBs to cover their guys. And Jerome kind of stepped up last week. We had some big plays in the passing game. Will Milton do the same thing? I don't know. Right. I know they got one DB as good as any DB Mosley had. That's the kid going to Georgia. He plays both ways. So he'll play receiver. He'll play quarterback. He'll play corner. He'll play he returns kicks, and he's the punter. So
Mercy.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I noticed that our kicker's been kicking in the end zone some. That's pretty good.
We did that. We had the wind to our back on the first one, and we took advantage of it. So
right.
I let the coach rest. I said, "Man, that makes it easy, doesn't it?"
It really, especially when it's automatic.
Yes, sir.
You're like, well, you don't have to worry about special teams too much. You don't have to practice it that much when you worrying about pooching it or trying onside or whatever. I mean, it's got to go 10 yards.
Oh man, we had two that.
Right on that.
Especially the second one.
Oh, it was a half a yard maybe.
If he goes 10, we definitely get it. We kind of steal a possession.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, we're gonna play the numbers. We're gonna, when you're down, you want to steal a possession. That's kind of, after we missed the first extra point, they keep the field goal. So I was trying to, get 3 2-point conversions to kind of nullify that field goal and take away. Instead of being down by 2 scores, we're even again.
That's right.
Yeah, so that was my kind of thought process, and it helped, or it didn't hurt that we missed the extra point already. So you might as well just try to steal a score for going for 2. So, but yeah, we tried to steal a possession twice on onside kicks, and they went 9.5 yards. Well, one went 9.5 yards, one was
didn't quite get it. A little shorter.
Just a little shorter. But look, I mean, I told Coach Sweat, he's the one that calls. I said, look, both those were good calls, especially the second one.
Got to execute.
Yeah, because they were backpedaling.
They were.
And if it goes 10, we recovered, especially the second one. So
yeah,
and that was when, after we cut it to 5, I believe.
That's right.
So if we get that possession,
they had short yardage 2 or 3 times. We didn't make them drive the field every single time they had the ball.
And look, at that time, mostly did not score on that one.
That's true.
So,
that's right.
I mean, it didn't affect us too much. And look, and our defense played a lot better. They give up 24 points in the first half, and they give up, 14 in the second half. Mm-hmm. So, and it was just like I told them at the end of the game. I said, look, what happens if we just give up 14 points the first half?
Yep.
It's a tie ball game.
That's right.
Or I said, look, offense. Well, why did we only score 6 in the first half, but 20 in the second half? Imagine if we did both ways. And,
right.
We got to put a complete game together.
Yeah.
We've talked all year long. It's not about thinking about 60 plays with the whole game. It's about one play at a time, and then moving to the next play.
Execute every single time.
One play at a time mentality. That's what we got to get.
And 11 guys doing what they got to do at one play.
Not worrying about, that's last play I messed up. It's over with. Go to the next play and give me everything you have for that play. And then we do it again and
Don't get down.
Exactly.
Right. So as we set up shop on defense against Milton tonight, who are you keyed in on?
Oh, well, obviously, number one, we're going to know where he's at all times. Like I said, he'll line up a receiver sometimes in the slot, sometimes a quarterback.
Wildcat-like thing? Or
yes, Wildcat, where he runs it, and he's, when he has the ball in his hands, he might be the most dynamic player in the Panhandle. I think Georgia's had an offer for him since his freshman year.
So a player like that, if he's touching the ball, and I think if I look correctly, they're pretty balanced. They threw the ball for 208 times this year,
yes, sir.
Or 200, and then they ran the ball for 208 times. So does that feel like when you see them on film, they're fairly balanced?
They are.
I mean, 50-50 type?
And look, they have so many weapons. Number one, that's the Georgia commit. 3 and 6 at receiver are really good. The running back, number 5, is a great high school running back. The quarterback is, dynamic with his legs and his arms. So it's when you have to cover the whole field, it's really tough, and it puts more strain to be disciplined and to do your job.
So tonight we're going to be honoring the 02 team you had said.
Yes, sir.
Come on, that's a great deal. That's, gosh, I can't believe it's been. You graduated in 04?
I graduated 01.
01. Oh, you missed it.
Yeah, they were sophomores when I was a senior.
Oh.
So that they were the JV team when I was a senior in high school, and I remember a lot of them, and I knew they were going to be good.
That was loaded, wasn't it?
Be quite that good, but they've definitely one of the best teams to ever come through Crestview.
Defensive end that was good went to play with Troy. Who was that?
Sean Todd.
Sean Todd.
Yes,
I remember him picking up a ball and took it to the house I can't remember what team. It was a big play for us, but he picked it up about the 30-yard line. Nobody caught him.
He was a really good player. He was a really good player at Troy.
You had Peoples.
You had Mo Holly.
That's right.
You had Carl Bacon. You had Danny Livingston. Of course, Adam Phillips. Van Barrow in the middle.
That's right.
You had one of the Moores. I think it was Blake Moore. You had Ardieta or something like that playing on the defensive line. Brian Reynolds, great player.
Oh, Brian.
Was a great player.
Yes, that's
also
right.
Here. And then offense, you had Justin Durham. You had Marshall King at receiver. I think Chris Davis was on that team, if I'm not mistaken.
And of course, Josh King.
Josh King, the infamous kick. Lloyd Bradley up front. I think Darius was up front.
Who was the other quarterback that played whenever Adam wasn't at quarterback?
Edwin Best.
Edwin Best. That is correct. I remember him now. Yep, Edwin Best. So what a great, those don't come around that much. When you're loaded like that, you're talking about dudes now, right?
Oh, yeah. But you got to think about, I believe Brian Reynolds played college ball.
Todd. Did Peoples?
I think so.
Bacon
did. Adam could have.
Yep.
I'm not sure about Lloyd on the up front.
May have been the team that produced the most college players at one time for that class, no? Close to it?
Close to it.
Yeah.
Very, very, very close to it. I know 2 years before my senior year, we had like 6 or 7.
Oh, okay.
But now, it wasn't to the level of like a Troy or anything like that. I know the Voisins, our class is pretty close.
That's correct.
You had the 2 Voisins that went to South Alabama. You had Diesel that went to South Alabama. You had Torian that went to Central Arkansas. Jay Stanton went to Sanford. So,
that's right.
That's 5 guys going either D1 or D1 AA. And I know John Michael went for baseball.
That's right.
But he almost had an opportunity for football. Luther went for JUCO. On that same team, a year later, Cade Kucheradas went to Georgia Tech. So, on that team,
if it hadn't been for Armwood, we'd have won that. We'd have won the state that year because the Armwood went down there and waxed the Miami team, right?
No.
Or no.
The Armwood lost. They scored only 7, but the defense only allowed like 14 points that game. We scored more on Armwood than the Miami.
That's what I was thinking.
Yes, sir.
That's what I was thinking.
Armwood was a very good team.
They had what, 15 college guys?
I know they had 8 just on their defense. That big kid that's playing at Florida right now, the big 400-pound kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a sophomore that year.
Holy moly!
So yes, they were. That's one of the most talented teams I've ever seen. If we had everybody in that game, that was supposed to be at Crestview, I think
we win that game, don't we? Well, listen, it's a big game, and then next week, don't forget, not to jump ahead, but it's homecoming, I think, next week, right? So appreciate it, Coach. And again, if you win out, there's still hope for the Dogs, right?
There is still hope. I'm just doing the math. Yes, sir.
All right, appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.